Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. You might notice, I've got a fresh trim. Unfortunately, I'm looking more and more like Triathlon Dan. Just a better looking version. Joking, I'm looking way better than Dan. Anyway, this video is not just slagging off Dan, although it's a big part of the video. This video is actually about taper week. It's race week now, I'm very much in my taper, with only 3 days to go until Outlaw Holcomb, and I wanted to run through my top tips for taper week, things to really focus on that will hopefully lead you to a really successful race day. So, let's crack on. Training. Should you do any? Should you do a lot? What should you do to get into the best shape? Well, of course you need to do some degree of training, otherwise you're going to turn up to the race feeling super sleepy, super lethargic, and just not have a good race. The key things to think about with regards to training during a taper is to reduce the overall volume, so your bulk mileage, you want to reduce that quite heavily, but you want to keep high intensity in your taper. Now, you might reduce the overall amount of intensity, but keep the same level of high intensity. So for example, with my track session that I did in my last video, I'll link that above. Normally on a Tuesday, I would do between 4 and 5K of good quality effort during that session. But on Tuesday, because it's the week leading up to the race, I only did 2K's worth of quality. Still really, really high quality, but just less of it. It's a bit of a balancing act really, because if you go into a race overtrained, then yes, you're going to feel fatigued and you're going to feel tired and you're not going to perform to your full potential. However, it's almost exactly the same feeling, if not worse, under training, and you get to a race feeling lethargic and horrible. I've had it before, it's not fun. So make sure you train enough during that week leading up to it, or however long your taper is going to be. Make sure you include some high intensity stuff and just reduce that overall volume. Rest, and most specifically sleep, is the most important and the most powerful form of recovery. Make sure you sleep well and have good quality sleep leading up to a race. It's going to give you a far better chance of performing well during race day. Now, that's not to say that you need to have massive lie-ins, get to sleep super early, but getting into a good routine, going to bed at a similar time every single day, making sure you're waking up at a similar time every day will get your body into that routine, and make sure you're just having enough good quality sleep every single night. You're not being really sporadic with it, having loads of sleep one night and not much another night. Make sure you're getting your body into a routine ready for that race day. Another thing to mention with rest is just reducing your overall activity. So yes, obviously you want to focus on the training, but if you generally go for long walks with your family or to walk your dog or something, obviously you can't just tell the dog that you're going to not walk them for a week, because they'll be pretty pissed off. But generally just not moving around as much as you normally do, not walking into town, relaxing where you can, sitting down where you can, and just reducing your overall volume of walking around and moving around will really help rest and recover ready for race day. Nutrition. Now, I don't know about any of you, but I have really struggled in the past with GI issues on race day and the week leading up to race day. So my top tips for reducing that and trying to control the outcome as much as you possibly can is to reduce the amount of fiber that you have. That will in turn reduce the amount of activity that your gut has, and hopefully reduce the amount of GI distress that you will get on race day. If you are someone who likes to eat brown rice or brown pasta or brown bread, that, yes, is better quality for you, but because it's got more nutrients in it, it leads to potentially having more GI issues. So what I do is I have the white stuff, although I think there is some brown pasta on that, so that makes me look like a massive tit. Instead of brown pasta, have white pasta. Instead of brown bread, have white bread. Instead of brown rice, have white rice. You get the issue, have less fibre. If you're inclined to have Weetabix for breakfast, maybe instead have some toast, something like that. Stuff that's going to reduce the overall amount of fibre for you. Also, I find reducing dairy helps massively. So less milk, less cheese, less yogurt, stuff like that. Anything that's really going to kind of generally chances of upsetting your stomach, try and reduce them as much as possible. Hydration. So you want to be making sure you are hydrating properly before a race. However, the key is to not drink too much plain water. The issue is this flushes out your whole system, and if you go to the toilet and you see clear urine, you think, oh, generally I'm quite well hydrated. The issue there is you've probably overhydrated with water, flushed out all your electrolytes, all your sodium, all the good stuff, and you are going to be heavily depleted on race day. So yes, making sure you drink enough, but supplementing it with electrolytes, sodium, and stuff like that to make sure you are sodium loaded going into the race. Check out Precision Hydration. I will link to their website and Instagram in the description below. Incredible company. Heavily recommend their products, so go and check them out. Now, leading up to the race, you can do a preload of sodium and electrolytes. I'd recommend starting this a couple of days out from the event, loading it up similar to what you would do with a carb load, and that way on race day, hopefully you are fully loaded, ready to go. Another thing with hydration is to reduce the amount of caffeine that you have. Now, actually, some athletes increase the amount of caffeine that they have, and that's completely personal. If you find that caffeine helps you, then by all means, increase it. What I find is actually sometimes it disturbs my stomach a bit too much. It's a diuretic, it's an appetite suppressant, and actually I can go a week or half a week without needing a coffee. So I cut it completely out the week leading up to the race, give myself no chances of having that as a reason to not do well on race day. Research. Research the race. Make sure you fully understand what you are doing, where you are going, the swim temperature, whether it's a wetsuit optional swim, whether it's wetsuit compulsory, the bike ride, how long transition is, where your bike is going to be, how long the bike is, how many laps the bike is. Make sure you fully understand how many laps the run is, everything with regards to the race, so you are fully prepared and ready for the race. There's going to be no surprises on race day. That is one of the worst things. Making sure you've got your race license, making sure you've got everything ready, going through it in your head so the race is as seamless and as easy as possible. So those are all my top tips with regards to taper week. By all means, if you think I've missed something out that's really important, or if anything specifically really works for you, please do drop it in the comment section below. I'd be really interested to see them, and I just want other people to get as much knowledge as possible from this. Hopefully it will help you out. Just take this all with the knowledge that this is stuff that I focus on, it's stuff that helps me. It might not necessarily be something that you do, it might not be something that works for you, but I just wanted to offer all these little points as something that I find works, and if you're interested, please do try it out. If it doesn't work for you, then obviously don't do it. Taper week is all about controlling the controllables. You cannot control anything you can't control. Actually, in my head that sounded really good, but now I say it sounds stupid. Basically, don't worry about anything you can't control. Don't worry about your competitors. Don't worry about the weather. Don't worry about if you might get a puncture or not. Don't worry about any of that stuff, because that's completely out of your control. Control the things that you can control. How you respond to things, your diet, your nutrition, your training, your attitude. You can control all of that. You can minimize the risk of having issues like GI distress, like having a puncture, all of that stuff. You can reduce the risk, but you can't completely save yourself from it. This is what taper week is all about. It's reducing the amount of risk that you have and controlling everything possible you can control, setting you up for a really good race day. So I hope to see a lot of you have a really, really good race day on Sunday at Holcombe. If you're racing elsewhere, let me know in the comment section below. I hope you have a great race. And if not, I will see you in the next video.